Afternoon guys, it's Sunday afternoon, approximately 10 days after I did my last video on my big cuttings, and I'm just going to do a bit of an update to see how they're all going. And you may notice in the tent I've got one of my ducts is unplugged and the high pressure sodium light is out at the moment. I'm waiting for a new ballast on that. So even though that's out, there is a fan connected to the edge of this ballast which is also off, but it's quite warm in the tent today. It's currently 32.6 degrees at 60% humidity, 32.7 just tipped over. Outside we're looking around 15 degrees ambient. It's around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's been quite cold this week in Canberra. We've had several frosts this week. We've had lows down to the 0 to 1 degree range, at least in my house. Maximum temperatures below 20 degrees, so it really is starting to cool down here. So I really want to get that HPS light back up because it adds a little bit more heat, even though with the duct disconnected it's still quite warm in here today without that light, but it's nice to add that in, and I'll put the vent on the timer. But figs, so where are we? We've got a number of our figs are doing something interesting and a number of them are not doing very much at all. So I've got the 360 camera on so that I could kind of mount the camera and hopefully bring things up to you and we can have a look at each one. We may as well start at the top. This is one that hasn't done anything at all. This one is Blue Provence, or Adam's Pride. It's got absolutely no green showing anywhere on the stem, and it's also got no roots showing at all as well. So this just might be one that's going to take a little bit longer to get going, and I've got a few that haven't done anything, so I'm not particularly worried about that. This is Celeste. Celeste, you can see, has got some good leaf growth on it since the last time. Now you remember in our last video, which is about 10 days ago, these were just tiny little buds at that point, but now we have full leaves starting to form, and we also have roots coming through the cup. This one, so you can see all the roots starting to form throughout there. And we've got a couple more little roots that are becoming visible on this side of the cup as well. So in another week or so, I would imagine this entire cup will be full of roots for this particular plant. We have Zidi. We've got some nice leaf growth happening on here. We don't actually have any visible roots, however, on this cup. So this is a good example of a plant that's got proper leaves forming. We've got two different nodes that have formed branch over the leaves, so we've got no visible roots on this particular plant. Got to be very careful when I put them all back. I've knocked one off before. This mesh flooring isn't the best to put things on and off of. Alright, we've got Black Tuscan. Now this has a small leaf on it and another node that is coming out as we speak. And we've got some roots coming through the cup here. So you can tell this is rooted out nicely. They're the only visible roots on this plant at the moment, but Black Tuscan going well nicely. This is an example of one that's had very little top growth. We've got just a single bud that has popped on this one, and we've got another bud just forming up the top there, if you can see that on the camera. But we do have some nice roots forming on this. This is Flanders, so nice roots forming along here. Only on one side of the cup at the moment, but very little growth up the top. Disproportionately large growth down the bottom. There's a Mary Lane Seedless, so we've got a lot of growth happening up the top here. We've got some nice green leaf growth happening. We've got 5 buds have popped out from this particular plant. This one also has some visible roots growing through here. So these plants now total have been in here for, I believe, 28 days, 14 to 28 days, or 21 to 28 days, I'll look that up. But nice roots on the Mary Lane Seedless. This is Deanna. We've got 2 cuttings of Deanna. Now these are from the same seller. I'm not sure if he took them from the same plant that he had. I would assume he did. This Deanna is doing nothing at all. We've got nothing, no buds have enlarged or have started to pop, and we've got no roots forming on this plant at all. The second cutting of Deanna that I have, however, which I'm sure will come to shortly. It does have some roots. We'll go to this one though. This is Purple Adam. Purple Adam, nice root growth up top. Nothing visible down though. I can't see any visible roots on the Purple Adam, but we do have some nice stem growth. Okay, Vardika. Absolutely nothing happening up top of the stem. Still looks like the day that I put it in there. And similar, we have no roots forming. And that's okay. It's only been 3 to 4 weeks. Sometimes that can take a lot longer than that. This is a Zidi again. So we saw a Zidi before that had some good buds and some good roots. Well, this one has no buds and it has no roots forming at all. So the second cutting of Zidi has done nothing. Now this is a black Ishia. We've got some really good top growth here. We've got a second bud that's popping. There are no visible roots on this. However, I did knock this cut off the shelf the other day, and when I put the stick back in, the cutting back in, there was roots around the cutting. So this one has rooted out, but they're not to a size that's visible in our cup just yet. That's the black Ishia. This is Desert King, and this has only just popped recently in the last couple of days. We had our very first bud kind of popped up. This cutting is a lot thicker than the other ones. I would say it's almost probably 1.5 times the diameter of those other plants. This one, even though we've popped a bud, has no visible root growth below the cup at all. This one, and it's difficult to pronounce, Della Senyora Hivernica. Just recently had this bud pop, and this bud is also starting to enlarge up here. There's no visible roots on this plant here. Now, several weeks ago now, many weeks ago in fact, when I did the original video of this, of how I do my fig cuttings, this is one of the 3 original ones that I took. So this has actually probably been in here 4 to 5 weeks, maybe longer. I don't even know how many days it's been. Maybe 4 to 6 weeks. This one has done nothing. So this is the Violette de Soleil. This one has no budding up the top. We can't see through the cup, but there's no visible roots at the base of the cup that's come out. So this one is really just kind of sitting here. Now I'm not worried about this. If it doesn't do anything for maybe 2 more weeks, maybe 7 more days, I might unearth it just very gently to see if there's any roots forming on it. But at this point, I'm just going to let it do its thing. It just might be a slightly slower plant to continue. Similarly, with that first bunch that we saw that I did, this is the black Madeira. Exactly the same as the Violette de Bordeaux. This is got no root, no buds happening. The cutting itself looks quite healthy. It doesn't look like it's drying out or shriveling or anything like that. The soil is nice and damp. There's no roots visible at the base of that plant either. This is a second Della Senyora Hivernica. We just in the last 2 days had a bud pop out from here, and this bud up here actually just looks like it's starting to swell as well. No signs of roots coming out of the base of this plant. This one is another one that hasn't done very much since it's been in here. Another black Ishia. So the black Ishia we looked at before. That one had some good leaf growth. This one's done nothing. So I'm assuming it's from the same tree. No roots visible at the base of this plant. This is just kind of sitting along doing not very much at the moment, but like the other ones, not worried just yet. Now one of the original ones that I did, and in fact had roots in our last video, was the Violette de Bordeaux. This is now put on significant leaf growth. It's starting to branch out quite nicely, and you can see at the base of this plant we have significant roots in it. So this particular plant has been in for 2 weeks longer than these ones, the same length of time as the last two that I showed you, the Violette de Soleil and the Black Madeira. So this went in at the same time. This one's obviously far more advanced than they are. And in the last week I've started some new cuttings as well. So I've started two of these. This has just gone in yesterday. This is the Ronde de Bordeaux, so the round of Bordeaux. It's another French fig. It's a round fig, highly rated fig. So looking forward to that one. I have two of these that have started. I have another Flanders down there that's done nothing. I have another Violette de Bordeaux down there that's done nothing. And over this side, this is the second Ronde de Bordeaux that I started, which has done nothing yet, just gone in the pot. So a bit of an update, guys, on the figs. Other things of noteworthiness in this tent that I'm going to be looking at, maybe doing something with shortly. This is one that seems to have not made it. I don't know why this one suddenly lost its vigour. This is a parrot tree. It was repotted up. It had started to defoliate before potting it up, so it's potentially, I let it dry out in a smaller pot and it just couldn't recover. We'll let it continue on to see how it goes. It's a pity, I don't like losing plants. I've got another one of those over here. So this is the same plant but healthy. So I'm not sure why we lost one and one kept going, but at least we've got one to continue us on. These jacarandas are starting to get too big even for these kind of grow tubes that I put them in. So they've got a lot of roots coming out the base of this. They've actually started to root into the pots that they're resting on. They're starting to get a bit floppy as well, some of the larger ones. So I'm going to probably repot a few of these up in the next week or so. Here's another one, got lots of roots coming out the base there. I've had some troubles over here with my Rollinia. So the Rollinia has had an ongoing aphid problem since the start, and I have gone through, if you have a look down here, I've gone through containers and containers and containers of this anti-aphid spray. These are all organic. I've got another organic one down there, and they just weren't doing the job. No matter how often I would spray them, they would still continue. So I got myself some Pyrethrum. So this is a little bit more toxic. It's going to actually, it's got a toxin in there that will actually kill the bugs. It's the same active ingredient that's in bug spray. And when I applied it to my Rollinia and a couple of other plants, it actually damaged the leaves. So you can see the base of this leaf has all been burnt. You can see there's a lot of dead aphids on there as well. So it did control the aphids, but it came at a bit of a cost where it hurt. These leaves are all burnt. This leaf is burnt. All the backs of these leaves are quite burnt. So it's a bit of a balancing act trying to control the pests, but not using anything that's too bad to, gosh, more aphids. Not using anything that's so strong that it actually hurts the aphids. And these aphids are a pain in the ass, as I kept saying. I've used, this is the eco oil again. I will spray it on the same plants in the same positions every couple of days, and it just does not seem to do the trick. These aphids manage to live right through this stuff, and I've tried 3 or 4 different organic brands to get this to work, and unfortunately it's not doing the job. So I'm not sure how I'll handle these aphids, but they are becoming quite the pest in this tent. I've planted a few strawberries in the base of these pots, seeing as I've got all these lights going on all the time. I'm going to see if I can't get some strawberries fruiting in here. I've got a lot of space in some of the base of these pots. This HPS is going to have a new ballast attached to it, and this will be lit up again, hopefully within a couple of days. Black Sapote, still doing not very much over here. The Jabos love it in the tent here, so the Jabba de Cava are really doing quite well. And I think, as a general update, that's pretty comprehensive without going through the whole tent to show everything that's going on. But yeah, that's our fig cutting update. In another fortnight, 3 weeks maybe, something like that, I'll come back and we'll have a look at them all again. We'll see how they've all gone in terms of if they're all budding out and rooting out and seeing how the ones that are gone, we might even be up potting a few of those in 3 weeks. Let's see how we go. Anyway guys, that's our update on the fig cuttings again today. Hope you're all having a great Sunday afternoon, and I'll see you all in the next one.